question. It's a long question, but we'll take it in stages. Dear Kim, I'm truly grateful for your service beyond words. I apologize for bringing up such a heavy topic, but I sent this email because I wanted to hear your response. There's really no heavy topic. We can talk about anything. I read the My Lives book, My Lives with Lucifer, Satan, Hitler, and Jesus, and watched the Avatar series on YouTube. While I can't know for certain, I feel like I might have come to Earth as an avatar. I don't want to make excuses that my life turned out this way because of some initial trauma. But the result is that since childhood, I've lived unable to adapt to the world, drifting on the periphery. I'm single, have almost no relationships, and lack the ability to earn money, so maintaining this physical body itself often feels burdensome. In other words, I often feel endlessly depressed, perceiving myself as a human being who fails to fulfill my function in sustaining society. Yet vaguely since childhood, I've harbored a desire to make Earth a better place. Reading your words made me want to contribute something to Saint Germain's golden age of prosperity. But I'm already over 40 with no career to speak of, and I possess no specialized knowledge in fields like science, art, or economics that could contribute meaningfully to the world. Even if I wanted to learn something new, I lack the financial means. I feel like I'm just exchanging the time given to me for money, pouring all my energy into sustaining my life, leaving me with too little energy to spare for anything else. Let's just go on. Of course, at the same time, I also think this. I don't want to do anything anymore on this primitive and boring planet. I just want to leave everything behind and go away, that sort of thing. I feel like I'm exhausted from my lives on Earth. Can a life have value simply by existing, even if I can't contribute anything to the world? Is healing my psyche enough? I understand intellectually what the Ascended Masters say about going out and serving others, but because I feel that I lack the ability to even properly maintain myself in this lifetime, I feel depressed, making me feel I can't even approach that level that Ascended Masters say. Is a life that can't reach that level still valuable? I read that the Avatar came to Earth to restore balance as a counterweight to the imbalance created by fallen beings. But even as an Avatar, I wonder if a life that achieves nothing personally nor contributes to society can still restore balance or be meaningful in another sense on the Earth. Okay, so I wanted to read the whole thing because it really illustrates what many avatars feel. That I can see in myself. I always felt I'm not on Earth because I want to do the things and experience the things that you can experience on Earth. I came here to help, to have some kind of mission to make the Earth a better place. And so many of the things, all of my life I've been watching people engage in all kinds of activities with great enthusiasm. And I just could never come up with that enthusiasm for these, activities that people go into. I think many avatars feel this way. First of all, we didn't really come here for that reason, but another reason is we've been in embodiment for so long that it's kind of like been there, done that. There's not much left. This is, the attitude that the person is describing is very typical for avatars who are nearing their last embodiment, who are in the last embodiment or at least close to it. But the thing is, as I've said before, it's like you take embodiment on Earth, and it's like, okay, so what I describe in my Avatar discourses is, we came to Earth being innocent. We were severely attacked by the fallen beings, received this birth trauma, and then we created the primal self, which is our primal way of reacting to Earth, to life on Earth. And in order to get out of here, we have to resolve that. There's no other way. Okay? There's no shortcut. There's no instant salvation like the Christians believe in. You can't just declare Jesus to be your Lord and Savior and He's going to come and take you out of here. You have to qualify for your ascension. In order to qualify for your ascension, you have to resolve your psychology and you have to do whatever you decided that you wanted to do for society, like the person is describing. Your divine plan, as I've talked about, has two levels: the resolving of psychology and the giving of your gift. And you have to come to a point where you feel you've done that. Otherwise you can't leave, because you're not ready to leave. You're not ready to leave the earth behind. So the first thing I would say here is that another person has watched the Avatar series and has read the book My Lives, but have you really applied these teachings and worked on this birth trauma? There's a book called Healing Your Spiritual Traumas that really go into this, has some practical methods for resolving the birth trauma. So I really recommend you use that book. Not just read it, but really use it. Because what you're describing here is you're in a catch-22. You know, I'm already over 40 with no career to speak of. I possess no specialized knowledge. Even if I wanted to learn something new, I lack the financial means. In other words, I feel like I have achieved nothing in my life, and I feel like I can't do anything to change that. That's a catch-22. But that catch-22 exists only in your mind. So you have to resolve the psychology that put you in this catch-22 in order to change the situation. So again, use the tools, work on this birth trauma. I think it's what you're dealing with here. The other thing I would say is that it's never true that we don't have something to contribute to society. We have to be very, very careful as spiritual people. I know that, you know, when you read the Masters and what Saint Germain, for example, is talking about the golden age and how there needs to be all these breakthroughs in science and technology, you can become very enthusiastic in a kind of naive way where you think, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to be a famous scientist and create this breakthrough and free energy technology and this and that. But many, many times, what is in our divine plan is something much more modest, a much more modest contribution to society. And, you know, I understand you're spending most of your time working a job to make a living. But you've got to have some free time, and there must be something you can do as a service. When you don't have a relationship, you don't have a family, find some way to volunteer some way. Because, you know, there are always people in need. There are always people in greater need than you. And I would say, I mean, what comes to me here is that one of the greatest services you can do is to listen to people. Just listen to people. You know, so find some way to volunteer in some way where you can interact with people, listen to them telling their stories. You don't need to be a psychiatrist to listen. You just need to pay attention. And there could be many other things. I'm not saying it's just this, but what I'm saying is there's always something you can do. And this is a very, very important principle that I have seen people, spiritual people over the years, fall into this trap time and time again. For example, I have a video where I talk about the law of attraction. I've seen so many spiritual people that come to this point because spiritual people, we always want to make money. And we always want to make money in a way that takes the least amount of time so we have time for our spiritual pursuits. So many people have fallen into this trap of thinking, if I just make a treasure map, if I focus on it, if I picture exactly in my mind what I want, it's just going to happen, it's just going to fall in my lap. So they're sitting there, they're basically, to put it on edge, sitting there staring at their treasure map instead of going out looking for a job. Now the person here has a job, but I'm just saying, when it comes to your service, it's not a matter of saying, oh, well, I have to have this specialized knowledge, I have to go to college and get a degree, otherwise I can't make a contribution to society. No, it's a matter of saying, who am I? Where do I live? What is my situation? How much free time do I have? What could I do with the situation as it is right now to help other people? Then you do that. Because now you have done something. And that means now the universe can move you in a direction you cannot see right now. Because when you're in this catch-22, You can't see what to do. I mean, this is what the person is describing. Basically saying, I feel like I should do something and make a contribution, but I can't see what it is or how I could do it. Yes, but that's because you're in a catch-22. You have to break that, and you break that by doing whatever you can do, where you are, what the situation is. You start walking. It's not a matter of knowing where you're going. You just start walking. It's the principle that I've said before. You have a car tire, you stand it on edge, and it's standing still. You push it on the side, it falls over. If the car tire is rolling and you push it on the side, it just changes direction. So once you start moving, it's very possible that you will get a vision that you can move in that direction where you can be more help. But you are not going to get that direction when you're standing still, feeling like I can't do anything. I'm paralyzed. I'm powerless. I'm a victim. You've got to break the gridlock by moving in some direction. Doesn't matter what direction it is, as long as it's aimed at helping other people. But again, you may need to resolve some psychology before you can do that. So to me, that would be the first, to me, it's always the first step. Look at my psychology. What is preventing me from going in a different direction?